becoming socially mobile and moving into the professions, it's quite a difficult and painful process.
But Georgina did make it through. She got 3 A's and a B in her A-levels. Oxford turned her down, but she's now studying law at another of the top universities, Nottingham. Settling in there had its challenges.
There are a whole host of psychological barriers for less privileged students who worry whether they'll fit in, who feel that, well, everyone in that organisation is white and they seem to be posh and they seem to be wealthier than I am. Is it really the sort of place that would accept me?
I loved what I was studying, but it was quite hard socially. Most of my friends had been to private schools. Everybody's lives seemed so perfect and idyllic. All their parents had really nice jobs and everybody had done gap years. They'd travelled Australia, New Zealand, Fiji. The way people dressed at university was different. The way everybody spoke was different. They'd often say that I spoke a different language and thought I'd just listen to gangster music, and quickly earned me nicknames like Gangster Princess and Peckham Girl. Friends would ask me if I had guns or if my boyfriends had guns, which is quite funny because I was studying law, so.
Georgina's determination to succeed trapped her between 2 worlds and 2 groups of friends.
When I'd come home, none of my friends were at university, so it was quite hard to fit back in. The guys would call me uni girl when I came home, and sometimes they would respond to me as if I suddenly thought that I was more important, whereas I didn't actually have that opinion at all. I was just doing what I wanted to do.
But Georgina is on track for the life she wants, a career in commercial law.
To go in and ask for our names and then they...
Across London, Baharak Zagari is also aiming high. A hairdresser's daughter, she wants to be a banker.
Shut up!
She's 17 and on her way to get her AS results.
Oh my God, Baharak, well done! Are you proud of yourself? Yes, I didn't think I was going to get that.
Seen politics, all right, I'm happy with that.
Ah.
What did you get?
I got all A's.
You've got very high marks in some of these as well, so you will have a chance of getting A star at A2 as well.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
In terms of my future, getting these grades means that I have a better opportunity to get into right university, and with the university comes like a good career, because now it depends on not only if you got a degree, but what kind of degree you got and where you got it from. And grades really matter now more than ever.
Baharak's aptitude for maths and economics make her a perfect candidate for a lucrative career in finance. But first, she'll have to break into the city. It is an intimidating prospect for a young girl with no contacts or role models. It's claimed 3 in 4 city finance directors were privately educated. But Baharak is being helped by a scheme which offers an entry pass into this exclusive world.
If you're from lower income backgrounds, you haven't had work experience, you haven't had mentoring, you haven't had all the sorts of things that you might have had if you were from a middle class family. And therefore, when you come out and you're trying to compete with those students from middle class families, it's very, very difficult for you. So we try to replicate the network of support that you might have if you were from a much more privileged background.
The Social Mobility Foundation has arranged for Baharak and 11 other teenagers to spend a week at Barclays Global Headquarters to glimpse what their future could be.
The scheme is about introducing them into the financial services world, and certainly having looked at some of their CVs, they're highly educated people. So really it is about trying to get rid of some of the fear factor.
Hi, I'm Baharak. I go to William Morris. I'm studying maths, politics, economics and biology.
My name's Iqbal. I go to Woodhouse College in Barnet. I study maths, further maths, economics and literature.
My name's Barry. I go to Woodhouse College also, and I thought it was in Finchley. Apparently it's in Barnet.
Each student gets a personal mentor for the week and a project to complete by the end of it.
So this is our usual working space.
Barclays are trying to improve access, but this scheme offers only 12 places a year in a company that employs 55,000 people.
It's a very interesting thing to be getting involved with.
No, it sounds it.
And although Barclays took on 400 graduates this year, like most companies, they keep no record of the social background of the new recruits.
We have a lot of statistics around areas such as gender, such as ethnicity. Socioeconomic background is more complex. Trying to establish a definition that is universal and one that is not offensive is difficult.
By the end of the week, Baharak looks at home in this new world.
You're not focusing that much on channels or lending, and that's because you've either audited it in the last 2 years or you've got something planned for it already. Yeah. Any questions?
The demands today of jobs require skills much broader than pure academic excellence. For example, tenacity, creativity, drive, communication skills, many of what people sometimes term the softer skills that are a requisite for success in jobs.
All this soft skilling comes more easily to children from professional families. Baharak's applying to university this year. She'll be up against young people with parents who know the ropes when it comes to choosing the right place to study.
We have a phrase, a helicopter parent. It's a parent who hovers figuratively over their son or daughter, intervening almost like a personal SWAT team whenever things get difficult. And they're incredibly effective. We define different types of helicopter parent. One was the banker, someone who will pay for their son or daughter to go to the university and expect a rate of return. The other I call the agent, and that's someone who would negotiate on behalf of their client, who happens to be their son or daughter.
A place at Liverpool is highly prized. It's one of the so-called Russell Group of 20 leading British universities, the ones most likely to be favoured by employers.
We know that many of the big companies, the big recruiters, have increasingly small lists of universities from whom they pick potential employees.
Is that a myth, or is that an actual fact that people who are recruiting for the professions look at these top universities?
There are some signs that in the current recession that recruiters are actually shortening their university lists. So, for this particular generation coming out of university now, it's an even bigger issue.
Wolverhampton University is proud of its local roots and its record for attracting low-income students who might not normally consider higher education. And tonight, more than 200 of them are getting their degrees. This is a successful place, 30% oversubscribed and about halfway up the league table of Britain's 192 universities. To get here, a lot of these graduates probably had to overcome greater odds than their wealthier counterparts.
I've come across children from socioeconomically a poorer background who've had to struggle every step of the way. Those that come through that can actually be better equipped ultimately than those who perhaps had the easier journey, almost having things on a plate.
This is a fantastic day for these young people, a successful end to 16 years of state education. The problem is degrees are not what they were. More and more students are going through ceremonies like this. And that means the top professions will look to the top universities. And Wolverhampton isn't one of them. But do employers just look at Russell Group universities and qualifications?
If they do, then I would suspect they're missing some very good candidates.
But do they?
There's a possibility that still exists, and I'm sure it does. But I hope day by day we're changing that with the many advocates that we have in our graduates.
But some students we spoke to are having a hard time finding work.
I've talked to a few fellow students, and some of them have been looking for jobs since last year and still haven't found anything. So it's kind of tough and frustrating, but we are kind of positive.
If you've gone to like say Cambridge, I guess the people I'm up against have got that kind of standard of education that maybe they might think that somewhere like Wolverhampton doesn't have. But at the end of the day, it's what I can actually give to the job that I think should be accounted for, rather than what school you went to, really.
At Liverpool, they now help students from less well-connected backgrounds to master the art of bagging a top job.
That looks really sales.
Jane? Hi. Would you like to come through?
Okay, thank you.
We're running courses, boot camps now, we call them, for graduates, when we decipher the graduate job market for them. For the first time, we started teaching students how to network in business context. We have employers come in and talk about the hidden rules of networking.
Where can you see yourself developing in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I'd like to enter the heritage industry.
I also learned quite a lot from life experience, from work experience, and from going travelling after university.
I've brought up a family as well as doing a degree, so it was multitasking.
These mock interviews are just one way to help graduates catch up on their competitors from more privileged backgrounds.
Of balancing work, social life, and stuff that goes with that.
35% of the interview is about how you come across, not what you say.
Yeah.
You came across very, very well. The only area for development I would say is that your answers were a little long and rambling in places.
It's knowing how to dress, it's knowing how to behave, knowing how to talk. The kind of small talk that you might have in an employer selection centre can all play a part in graduate recruitment. And I think when employers are looking at, say, they've got 10,000 applicants for 15 jobs, those aspects come into play far more than they would do in previous years.
If talented candidates don't get an equal chance, it's business that loses out. Some employers are taking matters into their own hands. Allen & Overy is one of Britain's top 5 law firms.
When I discovered that it actually got harder for people from average or below average income families to get into the professions than it was when I entered the law 30 years ago, I was just astonished and appalled by that. And so we operate this Smart Start scheme for over 100 young people from some schools in some quite tough neighbourhoods all around London, and we bring them in to the office for a week and we give them some really hands-on work experience.
OK, everyone, welcome to Allen & Overy. It's great to have you all here. My name's Zara.
These 20 teenagers have also come to learn the dark art of networking. They're part of a programme devised by the boss himself, a comprehensive schoolboy.
They work together in teams, they do challenges, they do mock trials, they do networking, they have lots of contact with the world of work.
If you can all stand up and go and find a flip chart, what is it that makes a good first impression?
Well dressed.
Not slang, but like formal.
Yeah, courteous, polite.